Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Still with you and this morning's edition of The Breakfast Show. And as promised earlier today, we talk about World Youth Day, which is marked annually on August the 12th. And we're delighted to be joined over the telephone to shed more light on this very important topic by Dr. Hossam Dwidar, our human development expert. Dr. Hossam, a very good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Angie. How are you today?
Fine, thank you. And thank you very much, Doctor, for joining us this morning. First and foremost, could you tell us a bit more about World Youth Day, the purpose of this day, why it was inaugurated every year on August the 12th?
You know, Angie, youth is a transformative phase of life characterized by, rapid change in physical, emotional, and cognitive domains.
Yes.
And it's very important to highlight on the youth and the role of youth in future of any society. That's why a presence of our World Youth Day is to memorize this day, or this importance of youth is very important. And as you know, also here in Egypt we have the World Youth Forum.
Yes.
Each year for about last 5 or 4 years, and it's very important in this area.
Absolutely, Doctor. We'll be talking a lot more about the World Youth Forum held in Egypt later on. But first, let me ask you about this year's theme. Every year there's a theme for World Youth Day. They commemorate a specific theme. Could you tell us about this year's theme in the celebrations?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
I was asking you about the theme for this year's World Youth Day. Every year there's a theme, a topic that is focused upon. Could you tell us a bit more about that this year, Doctor? Dr. Hossam, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I'm with you. Just some error in connection.
Right, apologies. I was
it's okay.
Yes, I was asking you about the theme for this year. Every year they focus on a specific theme when they celebrate or commemorate World Youth Day, whether it's, the importance of their development, their participation in politics, economics, or social development as well. Could you tell us a bit more about this, Doctor?
Yeah, this year is the self-development is the theme of this year, and it's very important. Youth development is very important on both for both youth and the society. Self-development refers to intentional and continuous process of understanding oneself, acquiring new skills, and developing positive attitude. And also positive habits.
Absolutely. How do you see the importance, Doctor, of adopting important, investing in the youth, the importance of training and preparing them? As you said, they are the future of any country, the future leaders as well of any country. How important do you see the need to focus with the youth, empower them from an early age, and work on their development starting at an early stage?
As I said, youth is a transformative stage from childhood to adulthood. So it's very important to embrace continuous learning. They should have a mindset of continuous learning. This involves seeking new knowledge, acquiring new skills, and exploring various areas of interest. And it's a shared responsibility between the families and societies and also youth themselves.
Absolutely. Now, Doctor, the state has played a very important role in youth empowerment, especially under the leadership of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, with the World Youth Forum held in Egypt, a very important event that brings together youth from all over the world with thousands of participants that come together to discuss issues, concerning the youth. The youth have lots on their mind, of course, as you said, a very critical stage of their development. And in such a forum, lots of discussions center around issues, that concern the youth, some of which include sustainable development, economic opportunities, political empowerment, as well as issues related to, the environmental climate change as well. Very important topics that have been discussed in several World Youth Forums that have been held in Egypt. Could you tell us a bit about this very important World Youth Forum and what the main aim behind it is?
As I told you, it's a sharing responsibility between society and family and youth themselves. And I think Egypt had this responsibility or enlight this responsibility from the start of Mr. Abdel Fattah al-Sisi presidential period. And I had the opportunity to talk about this event twice with Nile TV, and it's very important to engage youth in planning and in setting goals. As you know, it's a different world now, a different sorry for that. It's a different culture now, so they have to be engaged in such meetings and in such setting of new eras and new, as you said, it's sustainable development, not to throw some plans to them and leave them lost in their way. We have to support them as experts and as organizations and as a country to have their hands with us to push them for the right track.
Absolutely. Now, Doctor, as an expert yourself, could you tell us a bit about, some of the most important skills and talents that are possessed by the youth specifically, and how these skills could be developed at an earlier age?
As I said, first one is to feed the learning ability and learning, starving for learning from childhood. We have to give them the tools to learn, to develop new skills, to have new, attitude of different methods of learning. One of the most important issue is to develop emotional intelligence, NG. Emotional intelligence it plays a vital role in personal and social development, as it involves to recognize one's own emotions and also recognize and managing and understanding the other emotions and behavior, so he can be balanced and he can manage to communicate with people. As also communication skills is very important to for self-development, and before all of these, self-awareness is the most important thing. Is that he has to know himself, know what the points of powerful self and what the idea about himself. It's very important. And the last thing is seeking the advice of a mentor or an experienced peers around them to be on right track.
Absolutely. Doctor, you spoke about the issue of emotional intelligence, which is a very important topic when it comes to, the youth and the development phases in the youth. Now, emotional intelligence is not just about being aware of one's own feelings, but also of those, with them and knowing how to deal with them in different situations. How do you see emotional intelligence as fitting in and being taught in the formal education system to help the youth in this field?
I think it's very important to cultivate empathy practice and effective communication, as I said. So we have to develop, some plans or some skills for acquiring this very important habit of emotional intelligence. And I think we, as a government, is doing very well on this. Me, myself, I'm invited from the culture of Ministry of Culture by end of this week to have a workshop on self-development and emotional intelligence in one of the biggest cultural space here in Alexandria. And we have, as experts and as community workers and as social activity, we have to support our youth in acquiring such a very, very important skill, which is the emotional intelligence.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Finally, Doctor, as you said, the state has played a very important role and other organizations as well, but tell me a bit about the role that can be played by families in order to develop their youth and empower them with the skills they need. As you said, now times are very different and everything is much faster, and the youth are much more inclined to go in faster directions with regards to their aims and ambitions.
Families have a very important role on this aspect, because we have, as parents, we have to dig more and we have to search more to cope with youth and our new generations.
Yes.
To speak the same language they speaking. We have to be updated with the every new era to help them, to guide them to use it. And like what just you had in the last interview, e-marketing, e-commerce,
Yes.
artificial intelligence, we have to know everything about this to guide them directly to materialize what they hear and to have the power to use the modern technologies, not with the traditional activities, not like what we had before. It must be new eras and new technologies, and we have to encourage them to use all the tools they have to develop themselves, and after that developing our country and our society.
Absolutely. On that very positive note, I'd like to thank you very, very much, Dr. Hossam Dwidar, our human development expert. Thank you very much, sir, for all your time and your insight and joining us on today's edition of The Breakfast Show. And that's all the time we have for today's episode. Ladies and gentlemen, we do hope you have enjoyed it. You're in the company of myself, Angie Meher. Thank you for joining us.